Every time you see a beautiful olive orchard, do you wonder if someone has a green thumb? Or perhaps has chosen the most suitable plants? Hi, this is Milena. Welcome back to Olive Oil Drops, podcast created by Marco Antonucci. Today, we'll discuss how to choose an olive variety either for your house garden or your farm. I shall use the same analogy with the wine world used in the previous podcast, number 3, dedicated to olives. Wine is made of grapes. Different types of grapes are called grape varieties. There are over 6,000 grape varieties in the world. There are around 450 grape varieties in Italy, but only 4 to 5 of these make up 30% of Italian wine market. Usually, when we talk about wine, we describe wines using distinct grape variety characteristics. We talk about Merlot, Cabernet, Pinot, or Verdicchio, Nebbiolo, Syrah. Apart from wines made from a single grape variety, there are also blends consisting of different grape varieties. The same thing, more or less, happens in the olive oil world. Olive oil is made from olives, and there are around 1,300 olive varieties in the world today. Olive varieties are also called cultivars. Cultivars would be like grape varieties in the wine world. In Italy, there are around 700 olive varieties, out of which over 500 varieties have been cultivated and used to produce olive oil. Now, the choice of olive variety is a very important one, as it influences significantly both quantity and quality of the product. One should take into consideration systems of cultivation, soil, climate conditions, and marketing strategies, and the type of olive oil one wants to produce. It is highly unlikely that necessary prerequisite for a good quantitative and qualitative production, as well as one meeting market demands, can be found in a single olive variety. The more specific you can be in your goals, the easier it will be to pick the right mix of olive varieties. Usually at least a few different varieties are planted, following the simple rules. Rule number 1. Choose at least 2 or 3 different varieties, possibly with a good cross-pollination or with different resistance in case of adverse weather conditions or impacts of pests and disease. A sudden temperature drop and cold weather will not ruin the variety less sensible to cold. Olive varieties more resistant to olive fly will cope better with an attack of olive fly. Rainy summer will cause less problems to the cultivars more adaptable to rain. Favor local autochthonous varieties as they are the most adaptable to pedoclimatic conditions. Though non-local or new varieties created by breeding may have many advantages, they often grow with difficulties, are susceptible to pests and disease, and often yield less than in areas where they are normally grown. For example, olive trees that grow very well in Sicily, where drought and sun are constant elements, will not grow in the same way if planted on the lakeside in northern Italy. 3. Plant different cultivars in separate rows, allowing for selective harvesting based on different ripening times. In this fashion, there is a possibility to make monovarietal oil, or you can just use these monovarietal oils later on to create blends. Some varieties are early ripening, some are late. Planting them separately makes harvesting and decision on harvesting time easier. 4. Choose certified plants from a certified nursery or plants whose origin is known in order to have healthy plants and a documented genetic profile. This of course serves to certify cultivar type, but it is also a guarantee that plants are virus and parasite free. 5. Try to buy, as much as possible, varieties in the same climate zone where they will be planted. If, for instance, I want to grow the Frantoio variety in Lombardy, I should purchase these trees in northern Italy, not in Sicily. 6. Choose varieties which are suitable for the climate of a certain area. For example, in the northern parts, it is a good idea to choose varieties that go dormant early in the season, are resistant to low winter temperatures, ripen early, thus avoiding in that way possible damage caused by the late olive fly attacks or low temperatures. 7. Favor plants propagated by cutting. Cutting is when we take a branch of an olive tree, we cut it and place either in a soil or water, and a new sample is born out of it. While it is true that olive trees propagated by cutting initially need more water, they have the advantage of starting to produce fruits earlier than plants propagated by grafting or germination. 8. Avoid using plants grown up out of suckers. Suckers are those shoots coming from the olive tree base. They tend to grow rapidly, but yields are poor. 9. Favor already rooted plants. Let's say the plants that have been rooted at least for 3 years, because they begin to sprout easily, are already robust, and, if managed properly, start to produce olives in a couple of years. 10. If a plot of land is a part of so-called PDO, Protected Designation of Origin, which is the regulation created by European Community for Agricultural Products and Foodstuffs, and you want to produce olive oil that is certified as PDO, it is indispensable to follow PDO production rules for that geographical area. In other words, you have to choose olive varieties and follow other indications specified in the production rules. 11. Always keep in mind future pruning and harvesting practices and olive growth density. Today plants are small and easy to manage, but after a couple of decades, will crowns of neighboring trees touch? Will they shade each other? Will the tractor still be able to pass in between olive trees? Will I harvest them manually or with the assistance of machinery? These are all very important questions to ask ourselves. Olive orchards ought to be planned properly from the beginning in order to have optimal results later. 12. Last but not least, who is your targeted customer? You cannot choose an olive variety unless you know what type of an oil and what quantity your customer wants or needs. Before any production begins, market research is essential. Often, these simple rules are followed in a sporadic, ad hoc manner. Actually, often due attention is not given to cultivars already present in the area, nor the type of olive oil or potential customer. This is probably due to the fact that olive varieties were not selected by the peculiar characteristics of different cultivars, perhaps not well known in the past, but rather by their adaptability. Cultivars the most adaptable to climate and soil conditions and resistant to parasites and disease were chosen and were replanted regardless of their varietal properties. If you wish to ask us questions or share your olive tree cultivation experience, you can do so either by email, oliveoildrops@gmail.com, website www.oliveoildrops.com, comment space on the podcast platform you have been using and to which you can subscribe free of charge. Thank you for listening.